Welcome to Dome Academy webinar. If this is your first time of joining the webinar, it's kind of like an interactive session where you can ask questions and similar stuff. This is our first webinar for the year. We're going to be having, we normally have it twice every month. We're going to be having it more consistently from next month, but for this month, we just want to launch this webinar and move on. So welcome Taiwo for the listening to our webinar, and we're moving on from there. So we're looking at beginner's guide to data science, and to take us on this class would be Ebuka. Ebuka, you could take the class away. Let me just stop sharing my own screen and take the class away. So yeah, please share your screen.
All right. Thank you very much. Sorry, just give me 1 second. All right. Thank you for the opportunity, Emeka. Please do not judge my slides. They are not as nice as Emeka's own yet, but getting there. So welcome to Dome Academy's introduction to data science. My name is Ebuka, and I'll just give a little bit background about myself. So my first interaction with okay, before that, I am a developer at Deloitte currently in Lagos. So I reside in Lagos. I'm a developer at Deloitte. Currently working with robotics automation systems, and even currently developing with Salesforce for CRM tools. So my first interaction with data science was in 2019 after uni. It was actually pretty simple. I was thinking of the direction I wanted to go, and in as much as I had studied electrical electronic engineering, I actually wanted to be in the power sector. But given the way Nigeria is, obviously, you make best of what you can. And in thinking about what I could do, I figured that data science was something that applied my skills. a real application of my skills. I could program a little bit in Python. I liked maths. I liked analyzing data. Analyzing data is something I've been doing for a long time. So it just felt like the right way for me to go. So that's when I got really started looking into data science, trying to find more about data science, what skills I needed, what I needed to learn, where to go and get proper learning, improve my skills, and so on and so forth. And here I am today. I have, been learning it and still learning it as well, because the learning never really stops in tech, to be honest. So, different tools and, different analytical strategies. Right. So here are just a few statements I want you to take with you in this webinar. One of it is that data is the new oil. And yes, data is definitely the new oil. In fact, it's even better than oil, because just like how oil was when it was discovered and what it could do, the rush and the rush to get that oil, the rush to do something with it and become the biggest oil company, that is something with data. Right now, you see that companies will almost do a do and die affair to get your data, to get information about you, because information about you gives them the edge, helps them to make certain decisions that would also not control, but would also infer on your own decision making. So data is something that everybody's looking for, everyone's trying to get, everybody's trying to make use of, especially in our current way of life. You see that every website you're going to, they're asking you permission to take store your cookies, or those your cookies are information about you, information about your behavior, how you are on the internet, and things like that. So data is definitely the new oil that everybody's trying to get a grasp of. And in many magazines, many places, they have rated a data scientist the sexiest job of the century. So yes, you, by joining this class, or by even taking interest in data science to become a data scientist or anything relating to data, you are on your way to having the sexiest job in the century. And yes, people will be jealous of you, and that is fine because our job is very, very critical and very important to many companies. And despite how saturated it might look, it is still a a role that is in search of people, a role that is in search of people to come and fill in those gaps. There is a gap, there is the opportunities are there, but there is a gap where there is not enough people to actually do fill that gap and take advantage of those opportunities. So let's start with something very, very simple, very, very basic. Trying to be very, very basic in this class. And please, if you have any information, you can raise your hand or put it in the chat. And so we try to make this as much interactive as possible. So very easy. What's data? Data is simply bytes of information, right? Every little bit of information is basically data, and it's something that we are constantly being surrounded with, even the slightest thing is still data because that is information. Information in this case is data. So I have two statements here, and I want you to tell me, because I want to make it interactive. So I want you to tell me which of these statements do you think is more true or is more correct. So I have a statement here that says the amount of data produced has increased greatly over the last 10 years, or the access to data has increased greatly over the last 10 years. So what do you guys think? Mary, what do you think? Which of those two statements do you think is correct? Hello, Mary, are you there? Okay, not sure if she's still with us. Hi, Jacob. Are you here? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Okay, Mary. Hi, Mary. Yeah. So, Mary,
Sorry,
I
the
was saying.
network is kind of. Oh.
Okay. 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 So anybody can answer. Anybody can answer. Even Angela. Welcome, Angela. So we're just trying to get to know which statement is correct. The amount of data produced has increased greatly over the last 10 years, or the access to data has increased greatly over the last 10 years. So which of those information do you think is correct? Anybody?
I
Jacob,
think
do you
that
have
the amount
any? Okay, yeah, Emeka, go ahead.
I think the amount of data produced has increased over the last 10 years. That's my own
Okay, that's your
point of view.
own. Okay, okay. Angela, do you have an opinion on that?
Okay. No, please.
Sorry, you agree with Emeka? Or
Yes, please.
okay. What about you, Jacob? What do you think? Do you think it's the amount of data that has increased or access to data that has increased?
Sorry, I didn't get you there. My network was breaking for a while.
Okay, so I want to know what you think. Which of this is correct? The amount of data produced has increased, or the access to data has increased over the last 10 years?
I think the amount of data.
Okay, amount of data. Okay, we have three going for the amount of data. Angela, do you have any? Sorry, Angela said amount. Emeka said amount. Jacob said amount. How about you, Douglas? Solomon, what do you think? Amount or access? Okay, so I'm not sure if.
Sorry, I just joined the meeting, so I'm not sure of the question yet.
Okay, so we're just asking if you look at the presentation, there's just those two options: amount of data produced has increased, or access to data has increased. So which one do you think is correct?
Oh, I think the amount of data has increased over the years.
Okay, fair enough. So, um, please bear in mind there is no wrong or right answer here. There's actually no wrong or right answer. Um, and that is a very good point of one way to look at it, that the amount of data has increased. The amount of data has increased vastly over the last 10 years. And I would agree with that. I would agree with that. But I would also argue that access to data has also increased over the last 10 years. Because if you were to look at it in one essence, right, the data being the information, there are some data that have been there for the longest amount of time, right? If you look at your shopping behavior, right? Even before the internet setting, you've had a certain shopping behavior. You've had a certain way you go about your shopping. You had certain things you took into criteria when you were shopping, but nobody could access that data. But now with online shopping, right? With online shopping, somebody can actually access that. Someone can look at how long you look at certain items, what items you search for a lot of times. Does it vary per season? So you see that by through a particular device, they are now accessing, they're not creating new data. The data has actually already been there, so they're not accessing that data now. So in many ways, like, just as much as there's a large amount of data that's been produced over the last 10 years, those data have, in some cases, the data have been there for a long time but have nowhere to be accessed. But through technology and improving technology, we're actually able to access more and more of that data and be able to make decisions based on that data. So that's just something out there, just to get you to think about. So like I said, there's no wrong or right answer in that aspect. So what is data science basically? So, and the basic nutshell, the data science is the process of using data to understand our world. Now there are various steps in data science, looking at different approaches, analytical approaches, the data collection, the data cleaning, and modeling, evaluation, and most of it is an iterative process. When I say iterative, there is no, people might draw it as a circle, like, okay, you go from step A to step B, but there are times where you can go from step A to step B, and then that leads you back to step A. So it's definitely a process that it doesn't have a single form. So I don't want to. So when you see people draw up designs of how you should go about analyzing data, I don't want you to be static in. Don't be stoic. Don't be static in it. It's very fluid, because you can be looking for something, and that would lead you to change what you had the way you had started with. So that's one thing. So with data science, it gives you the opportunity to be able to prepare better for the future. There is a part of data science that comes with prediction, and prediction based on using historical data, because if human beings, especially, we are creatures of habits, right? If you have somebody that is always going to wake up early in the morning and buy coffee, always going to wake up early in the morning and buy coffee from a certain place, at a certain time, um, you know that, like, that's historical data, and that helps you to plan, whether it's your own marketing or your own merchandise, how you're going to sell it to the customer and things like that. So it definitely helps in preparing for the future, and especially when the future, you know, obviously we can never tell what's really going to happen in the future, but using historical data, using certain factors and um, certain strategies, we can able to at least come close to how the certain future would look like. So, it combines principles and practices from different areas. You can have a combination of mathematics, statistics, I mean, now we're involving AI, computer engineering, because, at the end of the day, you're working with a large amount of data, right? When you get into data science, in most cases, you're working with data that is millions and close to billions of data, right? And you need to be able to siphon through that data and be able to make it make sense, right? Your job as someone in data science is to convert all those data, take that whole amount of data and make it be something understandable to a normal human being, to the layman, right? Because no one's going to, see a bunch of numbers and automatically understand what is going on. But with data science, you're able to take those numbers and make it in a slightest time, make it make sense, right? You're going to make it make sense. And in doing that, you're allowing people to be able to easily take a firm decision on what they need to do, right? And they also help them make a better decision, because if they see that if you present the information in a proper and unbiased manner, they would then be able to see things maybe clearly in an unbiased way and be able to make the right decision, that could affect hundreds of millions of people as well. So just like written here, there's patterns in almost everything we do. Even when you want to start a new habit, you don't just wake up and start a new habit. You have to keep doing it to make it a pattern. So there's patterns in everything we do, and those patterns that a lot of creates data in many ways, in many places, that can be used for good as well. So I don't know if anybody has any questions so far. Please, if you have any question, please do not hesitate to put on the chat, so I can quickly answer anyone's question. All right, cool. So just before I dive into this slide, what kind of data roles have each of you heard of? I just want to get an idea of what kind of data roles have you heard of? Have you heard of anybody? All right. So in data science, like I said, data science is a combination of many things, right? And within data science, there are three major roles. Now, please bear in mind, these are not the only roles, right? In data science, there are new roles coming up every day, especially with the involvement of AI right now. But the three major roles you have are data analysts, data scientists, and a data engineer. And they basically do different they have different job descriptions and they perform different tasks. You have the data analyst that basically looks at the data with the purpose of analyzing just what that data is doing, and being able to visualize it. So for them, communication is really key, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to look at the data and communicate the findings of that data to a group of people or a small set of people. So and the best way to do that is through visualizations, using charts, and charts are cool. So, and you can quickly make an inferred decision based on looking at a chart. Then data scientists, you're mainly looking at modeling, prediction, using patterns to predict the future, trying to create certain models, being able to it's be careful, like people tend to mix up data scientist and machine learning engineering, because they're very closely related. Very closely related. Machine learning or AI with data scientists, they're very closely related, especially when you look at the tools. They kind of use the same set of tools, but there is still a difference between the two. Machine learning is like going a whole different level. And then we have data engineer. Now, a data engineer is someone that prepares the data. Like I said, you're working with millions and millions of data. It's not going to be clean. Using data science words, it's going to be dirty, it's going to be messy, and you need to be able to streamline the data to be in a compatible way for you to analyze it or do something with it. And a data engineer prepares tools to be able to get that data and have it transform the raw data into something usable. and transform that raw data into something that can be used for different things. So that's the main role of a data engineer. All are important. All intersect in many ways. Even while you're learning, you see that you end up touching. In most cases, you end up touching a little bit of all three of them. And like I said, there are new. When it comes to data, there are more and more roles. Some more specialist roles. You have Power BI analysts, and so there are more and more specialist roles coming out for in the world of data science as well. If I go ahead, does anyone have any question? Any question?
No, for now.
Okay, all right. So let's really get into it. What is it okay with? So because I know one of the things that people can be worried about entering a new field is you hear different kind of talk. Oh, it's hard. Oh, you have to be good at this. Oh, you have to be able to do this. You need to have this certification. Do lots of different things. So I've written down 3 here that are very simple that I think it's okay to, just for you to kind of take home with you. So the first thing I wrote down is that it's okay to not have a mathematical background. Like it is really, really okay to not have a mathematical background. Doesn't it, now that's very different from saying you should not have you can escape maths. I'm not going to lie to you. You can't escape maths. It's it's data analysis. You can't escape maths, but it's okay to not have a mathematical background. There are people that have, now when I say mathematical background, maybe science, maybe you didn't study anything relating to science in school, maybe you did law, you did geography, something completely different. It's okay to go from there to become a data and come into the world of data science. We accept all. You just need to be willing to obviously put in the work and to learn as well. It's okay to not be good at coding. Being a data science, being in the world of data science does not mean you have to code. It doesn't. It helps if you are gearing towards a certain level. So, for example, someone that wants to become a data scientist will have to learn how to code, because becoming a data scientist requires there are some particular tools you're using that is in coding. It's not those are not tools you can simply get. But to enter the world of data science, data analysis, you do not need to be good at coding straight away. There are new roles that are coming up. There are low code tools, no code tools that are coming that will enable you to be able to analyze and do a lot with data without having to write a single bit of code. Right? I always emphasize what is you don't need to be good at coding, but you need to be able to understand data. You need to be able to understand what you're going to do with the data that you have. Because if you don't understand what you're going to do with the data that you have, then the tool you're going to use almost becomes useless, because now it's almost like you have no sense of direction, right? So when you know what to do with the data that you have, when you look at your data and you're like, okay, I want to look for this, and then you're like, okay, looking at this has made me think about something else for me to go and look at. You need to try and understand your own data as well. And finally, it's okay to apply data science to your current field of work. The beauty about data science is it's a transferable skill. It's a transferable skill because there is data everywhere, which means there is data in every field of work. There are people that specialize in data science for just medical, in the medical fields. There are people that specialize in it in network fields. There are people that specialize it in engineering fields. And that's because, remember, you're working with different sets of data. So you need to be able to understand your data anyways. So having a full and broad understanding of your own data, and especially if it is in your current field of work and you already have a broad understanding of that, that's like it that's a lovely match, because now you're working with data that you understand before you even before you even start looking for something in the data, which then helps you to, see certain patterns and understand them, see certain information and be able to understand it properly. So definitely applying data science to every, any current field of work, new, old, it doesn't matter. You can apply data science to pretty much everything as well. Even your personal finance, to be very honest, even your personal finance, you can apply it in your personal life, personal finance. You can apply data science there as well. Now, what are some of the skills, right? Because at the end of the day, we're picking up skills that are going to make you become proficient in this field. So I know I mentioned that you don't need to know coding, and my first line item here is programming. But in the end, it's part of data science. So there's a programming skill that you can pick, that you're going to need. Yeah, that it's going to be good to have, and you're going to pick up as well. Programming skills like Python and R, those are the two programming languages that are much geared towards data science and are more favorable to the field of data science. Then we have SQL. SQL is a short form, but the full form is called structured query language. It's a language that enables us to be able to read vast amount of data. Remember, when you're working in this field, you're going to be working with millions of data, millions of rows of data, and sometimes simple tools will not cut it. And even sometimes you want to even limit the amount that you're going to send to your tools. So SQL is where you would store it and make use of it as well. Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is really much the bread and butter. It's the starter for me. If when I'm teaching someone, I want them to start from Excel, because I want them to be able to actually see and understand the data that they are working with. Because when you begin to work with millions and millions of data, you're seeing it less and less. You're only seeing a small subset. But working with it in Excel, you can actually do a lot of beautiful things with Excel. Obviously, it has its own limits, but there's a lot you can do with Excel when it comes to data. Statistics, you can't escape it. Even the simple median, mean, average, that is still statistics before we go on to higher ones like standard deviation and variance as well. Cloud skills and knowledge is important. Because we're working with millions and millions of data, sometimes on your personal system is not going to be enough, right? Especially if you work in certain, if you're going to work in certain organizations, you're going to have to work with cloud tools that enable you to work with those data on the cloud, and being able to work with it and analyze it on the cloud, because you can't really, your system specs may not be enough to actually perform the tasks that you need to perform. So definitely knowing some kind of cloud skills, Azure, AWS, as sometimes even the basic tools that they offer, because those two, Azure and AWS and Google, they offer tools that are for data science, that are specifically for data science. They're specifically for data science, and they help. I mean, I think AWS, you have Redshift, you have their warehouses that are used to store data. Even the ones that they even have ones that they use for data engineering, that actually process and filter the data that you need to be able to analyze it as well. So definitely some picking up some cloud skills is going to be needed in the world of data science. Visualization skills. At the end of the day, after analyzing or looking at your data, even if you're doing it for yourself, you need to be able to present it in a way that is readable. You need to be able to present it in a way that is understandable to the layman. And showing a layman a table of 1 million rows is not going to make him understand the data. But showing him a graphic that shows different boxes like a bar chart, and it's descending, immediately tells you what is going on. It immediately tells you, okay, this is the information you're trying to pass along. So visualization skills are very, very important. And that links with the last one, communication, because communication is a very big skill because like I say, working with millions of rows of data, you have to communicate your findings. You need to be able to communicate what you're finding. You need to be able to communicate what you're seeing. If it's something, utterly unexpected, you still need to communicate it, and not just obviously just saying what you've seen, but also backing it up, just showing them the part of the data that supports, why the data supports what you're saying, and why you think they should go in a particular direction. So you need to be able to, effectively communicate what you have found to whoever you're running the analysis or doing the work for. Even if it's even if it's for personal, you still want to be able to, do put it down properly so that when you look at it again, you're immediately able to, grasp, okay, this is what I was doing and this was my findings as well. So these are just some of the skills that I feel is important for you to have. You don't, like I say, you don't have to have all of them to start off with. You don't have to have all of them to start off with, but definitely when you come into the world of data science and analytics, these are skills that you're going to gain along the way, and these are skills that will be used in not just data science, but in also very other aspects as well of tech. So how do you grow as a data scientist? How do you get yourself, to improve basically? And just like my first step says, there is practice, practice, practice. You really cannot not practice, right? Whether it's using certain nowadays the data science community is very, very large. It's grown, especially even here in Nigeria, it's grown immensely large. Even just on Twitter, you can see different competitions going on, people posting some certain data and people analyzing it. Don't be scared to do it, even if you don't post your own. Just do it. See what it is, compare it, look at how other people did it, see what makes theirs different from yours, or how yours is different from theirs, or just practice. And just as the legendary quote, practice makes perfect, right? It's only when you keep practicing that you become more in tune with the data and more able to grasp it easily. Now in doing that practice, you're automatically building a portfolio. So you're building a portfolio because because the good thing about data science, right, is now this coming to the job aspect, when you just like many other parts of tech, when you go for a job interview, right, and even if they say it's asking for certain years of experience, even if you have not been employed somewhere else and that's your first one, your portfolio covers for you. Your portfolio is those years of experience, because your portfolio then shows that you've done analysis in different types of analysis, or and I remember, just as I said, communication is important. You need to be able to communicate what you did in your portfolio. So putting down what you did in your portfolio and using that to showcase what you can do. If you don't know where to start about portfolio, on Dom Academy we have an excellent write-up about portfolios and how to go about portfolios. I believe we've had a previous webinar that is recorded and posted out there about portfolios and how to go about portfolios. So if you're looking for how to go about portfolios, we definitely at Dom Academy we already have systems in place to help you to build that portfolio. And even when you join our community, by getting involved in the different tasks that we do, you'll then be able to even help you to build that portfolio that would be crucial later down the line. Another aspect is to look to collaborate wherever you can. Collaboration is very important because collaboration is something you're going to do even as a data scientist, because you're not even just going to collaborate with your fellow data analysts or scientists. You're going to collaborate with your managers, collaborate with other lines of work, collaborate with other engineers. And so collaboration is very key. And wherever you have the opportunity to collaborate, whether far or near, do collaborate, and that is also another thing that we are um, we are key and high about in Dome Academy is about collaboration, because at the end of the day, you're going to work in a you're going to if you're going to be in a workspace, you're going to have to learn to collaborate with people and work with them. So, and if just as we prioritize in Dome Academy, there's loads of people to collaborate with, and even if you don't know where to start, there are people to help you on where to start, and where to how to go about collaboration as well, and keeping each other accountable as well during that collaboration period. And definitely don't stop learning. There are articles every day, but new things coming out. We're in the tech world. New things are coming out every day, so learning doesn't stop. New things are coming out. Even as I talk to you, I would see new things or new things in, for example, about Python, and I'll go and look at it, or if sometimes even try and revisit old learnings to kind of like make sure I don't forget. But you never stop learning. You never Being curious is something that's important as someone in the data field. You have to be curious. You have to see yourself as a curious person. Because you have to be able to ask questions. And when you're asking questions, you're learning more and more. Even from somebody that, even if it's a work you're doing, you need to be able to ask them questions on and on, because if inside you can understand what exactly they're trying to achieve, and you can help them with your analysis to achieve that as well. So that is something very, 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 very key as well. All right. So where to find your data? For those that want to start, these are three quick sites for you that you can find lots of data. Doesn't matter what kind of data you're looking for. You can find it. I especially love Kaggle because as a community, like you not only just see data sets, but you can see what people have done on those data sets, and you can even have a look at it yourself and even see kind of compared to like what you would do. So you see different data sets, you do it yourself, and you can see what other people have done, and you can learn from their own as well. So, and Kaggle is free. Just need to you can even use your Google account to go there, register, and just look at different data sets that are available there. We have data.gov, and we have Google dataset search as well. So these are just three simple places that you can get data. Obviously, we have the internet, so there's data everywhere. There's data everywhere. It's just how you access it and how you want to do with it, and what you want to do with it. These are just three quick, easy places to go to find. If it's data in your field that you want to start with, you can go there, search for your particular field, see whether there's data relating to it or even on it, and start to work on it as well. So with that, I will end my presentation here. So once again, thank you for joining this webinar. And like I said at the beginning of this webinar, just by being here, you're on your way to having the sexiest job of the century. Don't let any software engineer or even the AI engineer, don't let them tell you until even AI engineer, don't let them tell you anything until those articles have changed. The data scientist is the sexiest job of the century, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it as well once you enter this world of data science. Thank you very much. So do you have is there any questions? Any questions? Any something you're curious about, something you want to find out? Please do ask your questions. Even if you don't ask them now, if you do have questions about data science and you're already on the Dome Academy community, you're in the group chats, you can just drop your questions there, and I will be more than happy to answer you anytime, any day as well concerning data science. All right, then. There's no questions, Emeka. I'll just leave it for you then. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Yeah. So I have a question. You said we can apply data science to our personal finance. Like, if you are to do that, how do you think we can do that?
Okay, so okay, so let's start from the very basic, right? What you can do is, let's with personal finance. Let's say you go to your bank and you get your statement for the last 1 month, right? Just the last 1 month. Right now, in your statement, you're going to see different information. You're going to see what you spent, obviously, amount you spent, and you're going to see what you spent it for. Now, if you're as meticulous as me, where um, if I'm sending money, I might type what that money is being sent for. But if not, at least the past 1 month, you can sort of remember majority of what you spent your money on. And for some of it, it's quite obvious. Some of it you can see POS, some you might see Chicken Republic written there. So then what you want to do is, when you've had those narrations and when you've had those narrations and you've had those amounts, what you now want to do is, now you want to look at those narrations. You want to create groups, right? Create groups, create maybe house, food, part entertainment, gifts. Just create groups. You know what you usually spend your money on: borrowing, not returned, or sending, giveaway, whichever one, right? And then for each of those narrations, simply give them a group, right? So give them a group. When you give them a group, then what you can do is, so you can easily do this with Excel. It might take some time. But if you do it properly, then for each transaction will be in a group, right? And then what you can then do is that just that amount and the group, right? You can take that and create a chart, and then that chart will then show you the amounts that you've spent for each group, right? You can quickly see the amount you've spent. That you can take that and convert it to a pivot table and just place the group in rows and place the amounts in values, and you would quickly be able to see the amount you've spent in 1 month, where you've spent your money most in, right? And then if you're able to do that for 1 month, you can go back 2 months, you can go back 3 months. In fact, you can go back a whole year. And then by looking at it over a whole, when you're able to do that and look at it over a whole year, then you can now see what you've really spent your money on over the past 1 year. Now, when you do that, you might be able to see something that you did not see before. What I like to do is that, if you're going to stretch it over a certain stretch it over a year, or even stretch it over a month. Another thing you can add is, you can add what, for example, if I'm looking at it over a month, I might add, okay, what time of the month did I spend that money, right? So I might group the 1 month into three different groups, right? Beginning of the month, when salary is paid; middle of the month; and SAPA period, ending of the month, right? I'm just playing there. So you can group that into like three different parts of the month, and those will be certain dates. And then you can even see, like, okay, within a month, I tend to spend more in the middle, or I tend to spend more at the beginning than I do at the ending. And you're like, okay, why am I spending so much more at the beginning? Am I paying certain bills? Am I just flexing around because I just got money, salary paid? Or is there a particular, is there another reason why I'm always spending money at the beginning? For somebody else, you might feel that they're spending money more at the end of the month, you know. Then when you extrapolate it over a whole year, it might be like, oh wow, it looks like I spend way more. You extrapolate over a whole year, you might feel like, oh, I spend way more at the beginning of the year, and I save way more at the ending of the year. So you're like, why am I saving more at the end of the year as compared to the beginning? Is there a particular reason for that? Why am I not being able to save consistently over the whole 1 year? So it's just these are just examples, but then that's just like a good way to be able to apply data science to your own personal life. And the thing is, like I said, human beings are creatures of habit, and when you are able to even see what you've done over 1 year or less, you can almost, in a sense, predict what you're going to do the next 1 month, predict what you're going to do the next 2 months. Because if you're seeing something that, let's say you saw it happened last year, and you're like, oh, that particular thing is going to happen again this year. So that means I can predict that this particular month, I mean, we already do it ourselves. We have that 1 month that we're like, oh, I'm going to spend a whole lot this 1 month compared to other months. So that's just the way you can apply data science to your personal life.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you for that live example. Thanks everyone for coming for our session. Special thanks to a busy person, and so for him to be able to be available right now is something that's it's really great. Yeah. So this class was recorded. So if you were not here from the start, you could always watch it on our YouTube channel. And yeah, so this is part of like the beginning of webinars for the year 2023. We're having more incisive webinars where we'll be getting like different speakers to speak on like certain topics. I feel like deep topics from UI UX, reading from UI UX, like writing to engineering, even blockchain and even AI. We're having those kind of stuff. And in a few weeks from now, from next month, we'll be having courses on our platform where you can actually take a full course. And there's going to be a structure for the course. The course is going to be you can take the course independently on the platform, or you could join a learn like you could join groups where you'll be assigned to learn together, and the weekly review of certain topics, certain particular topics every week, where we just review everything and like we'll see how we've gone progress. So in that way, it just encourages you to like go through a lesson and finish it. Then we'll be having like more. We're just going to be having more this thing, and probably we'll have a course. Um, like we'll definitely have course at least two this year. So there's a lot planned that we have planned for this year, and we're just hoping that we're going to be of great and massive impact in everyone's life as we go on. So thanks for joining tonight's lecture. Thanks Solomon, thanks Nilua, thanks Abraham, thanks Angela. Yeah, thanks everyone. Um so yeah, with no further ado, I think we'll close for tonight. Thanks for coming everyone. Good night.
All right, bye everyone. Do take care.
Thank you so much. Good night.